Okay, this section is going to be over the brain. Now I have it pulled up. Here is the list of structures. It's pretty long. A lot of it's bigger structures that you can see. But try to show you everything, including all the lobes and everything involved with the brain. So this will be the list you're responsible for. Now I'm going to go real quickly, and I'll bounce back. I'm in visible body, and I'm gonna. For some reason, the scroll thing on this is taking forever, but I just wanted to use this, and I'm going to use one other part of it. So you can see here it's kind of divided, but see these this whole upper part of the brain is called the cerebrum, including um, here. See all this up here? That's the cerebrum. And you have the same lobes. Like it looks like here I could click on that and it's just something about, okay, well, it's talking about the different gyri. But what I was going to say, the grooves in the brain are called sulci. Individual sulcus. The little folds, like it says there, it says postcentral gyrus or gyri. That's all the folds. And of course, they all have meaning. Different parts of the brain control different parts of the body and have different functions and all kinds of things. But that whole upper part, like I was saying, is called the cerebrum, this part. Okay, I'm going to open up, you have two labeled brains. This is a good one also. So all this up here is the cerebrum. So going down the list, okay, the frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital lobes. Now, the frontal, so here's the front of the brain, both of these. Front here, this one's not labeled. But front, this is the back. And this little area in the back is called the cerebellum, this thing that's hanging down. So the frontal lobe is here. The parietal lobe will be right in the middle. And the occipital lobe, in fact, there's a line right there that separates it, is in the back. And the temporal lobe, and it's showing on the other side, this is cut in half. It's basically where the ears are located. That's the temporal lobe. So if I go here, frontal, parietal, and if I click on the back here, this is the, in fact, it says occipital gyri. This on the side of the brain. Oh boy, there it goes. Anyway, that's the temporal. So I'm going to turn it around this way. I'm going to back up some more. Anyway, that's the this right here on the side. That would be the temporal lobe. So we did all the major lobes here. So frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, the transverse fissure, and the longitudinal fissure. Now, the area between, this is all up here is the cerebrum. This is the cerebellum. That little line between that is called the transverse fissure. And let's see if maybe these are different. They're named different things. This is Merib. You can see it there. See, it comes this way. That's the transverse fissure. The longitudinal fissure is a part of the brain that goes right down the middle. So it's kind of highlighted here. So look, I can actually click on, well, let me hide that. There it is. I wonder if it'll let me. It won't, but nope. Oh well. I'm going to bring it up. See this going down the middle? Wow, this guy looks like he's had way too much caffeine. But see that going down the middle? That's the longitudinal fissure. If you turn around to the back, here, see that space in there? And it's not letting me. But oh well. I was hoping it would name it, but it's not. But yeah, that in the back. I'm sorry. Here we go. This back here. In fact, let's go ahead and get rid of this. So there's the cerebellum. I'm going to back this up. That's an ear. The auricles are in the way. There it is. In fact, if I hide this, it looks like the diagram. It looks like the diagrams I gave to you. So the cerebellum. But anyway, that space, you can kind of see it up under here. There it is. That's the transverse fissure. Now, on the side, there's a landmark called the lateral sulcus. It's actually on the side of the temporal lobe. Kind of limited on where I can show you that, but it's part of the temporal lobe. So if you go to the inside of the brain, like on this picture here, and I can make this a little bigger. So give you the guided tour. This part that goes across, these are actually nerve tracts. This is called the corpus callosum. That part that's bent this way is called the fornix, and then here in the middle is the thalamus. And then below that, hypothalamus, and then right there is something called the optic chiasma or chiasma. I'm going to go to a different, okay, go to this brain look. See, here's the corpus callosum. There's the fornix. Here's the hypothalamus. You can see it a little better on this particular diagram. It goes down. Optic chiasma is right here. That's where the nerve tracts for the eyes cross over, the optic tracts. They cross over right there in that area. This is the pituitary gland that comes down. This is called the thalamus, middle part of the brain here. This red here are the choroid plexus, which are little capillaries that produce spinal fluid. So that right there. See, here's the hypothalamus. This whole area here is called the thalamus. Here's the corpus callosum. And then that little curved area there is the fornix. So going back out, I'm going to do some more inner brain parts. So lateral sulcus, may have to take a pass on that one. Corpus callosum tracks across the top. Fornix, the little curved structure underneath. Now the corpora quadrigemina, I'm going to make this a little bigger again. Maybe. Is this little structure here in the back. And let me see, it should be labeled on this one. There it is. Oop. This structure here, corpora quadrigemina, it says the midbrain. It's these two bumps in the back. This is called the cerebral aqueduct. It's there's an area in the middle of the brain here called the third ventricle. This area up here are the lateral ventricles, and they produce spinal fluid. These choroid plexus actually produce that, but they line all the ventricles. And the fluid drains down through this way. And that little drain there is part of the midbrain. It's called the cerebral aqueduct. This is the cerebellum, and that white looks like a tree. It's called the arbor vitae. It's myelinated nerve tracts in the cerebellum. This little area in the front is the fourth ventricle. So, once again, let me go back out. This has the most of it, of all of it. So I showed you this, choroid plexus, thalamus, hypothalamus. I haven't done the pons yet. The olfactory bulbs are actually the first the cranial nerves underneath the brain. Once again, it's on your list, but if I can't get a good opportunity to show you, obviously I'm not going to ask, but I could probably take this guy here and get rid of an eyeball. Let's see on the other side, right there. That's the supratrochlear. Well, the optic, they look like Q-tips. The olfactory bulbs, they're for smell. They're underneath the front of the brain. Unfortunately, it looks like visible body. Even visible body is not. There's the orbital. Anyways, they come off the very underside of the frontal lobe. Once again, can't find a good diagram of it. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you of it. So, pituitary gland is this. It's coming down here. That little area right there that comes down off of this one. And it's labeled there. There's the pituitary gland. So I'm going to go back to our list. Now the pons and the medulla oblongata, that's pretty easy. This area coming out here is the pons, and right below that is the medulla oblongata. So see it coming out this way, pons, and then right there would be the medulla oblongata. Medulla controls heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate. It's a very, very important part of the brain. And then right past that would be where the foramen magnum is on the skull, and that would be the spinal cord that's coming out. So medulla oblongata, pons, and then here's the corpora quadrigemina. And it's all highlighted here as sort of the, say the inside part of the brain. There's the thalamus. All right, the last thing to show you, okay, and then like I said, here's the cerebellum, and then that white myelinated area there is the arbor vitae. You can see it there really good. And it's even labeled on this one. Okay, I'm going to show you the ventricles. Now, I'm going to go back to our list here. It says lateral view here. In fact, I'm going to just minimize these others so they're not in the way. So here's a front view, here's a side view. What that is showing, these are the ventricles of the brain. They're blue because they have spinal fluid, so they're deep inside. The only way to see them, well, they're deep inside the brain. You'd have to cross-section the brain to see them. These are called the lateral ventricles. These bigger ones up here. In fact, there's two of them. See on each side? It says lateral ventricles. The interventricular foramen is this two openings that connect to this area in the middle, which is called the third ventricle here. There's the fourth, and then there's that cerebral aqueduct I was showing you before. So third ventricle here, cerebral aqueduct is coming down this way, and this is the fourth. This is inferior horn. Yeah, fourth, I'm sorry, right here. Inferior horn. There's the fourth ventricle there. The third, and then it kind of curves like this. Now, I did minimize it, but let me go to the Merib brain. Seems to be a good one. But yeah, see this? Here's the fourth. The third is in this area, and these are supposed to represent, there's a membrane there where the laterals would be. All right, so that's everything, every single part, big parts of the brain. Fortunately, olfactory bulb and the lateral sulcus, can't really see those. But everything else is on there. All right, so that's the brain.